Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to candle lily seeds. Candling lily seeds is very important, so when you candle the seeds, you are actually looking for an embryo in the seed. Because sometimes if you see that there's a lily seed pod, like here, usually 2/3 of the time when you make a cross, they didn't stick because the embryo and the endosperm is incompatible. Embryo is the meristematic tissue of the new plant. It will regenerate to a plant with a cotyledon and new leaflets and a new root and new bulbs, while the endosperm is the tissue which holds the food for the embryo. For example, there's a liquid endosperm in the coconut. So when you open up a coconut, the coconut water is actually a liquid endosperm, and the white part is the normal endosperm, which is usually present in seeds. So I collected a couple of seed pods, and they are in these net bags because they need a lot of air to avoid having molding issues. And this is my box. It's a shoe box which I use for candling lily seeds. I have a LED lamp here which has a very strong white light, and glass which is transparent, but it has these opalescent glass. We call it milk glass. So it's very simple. I just put the LED lamp in, turn it on. I said turn it on, oh yeah. And now we can start candling lily seeds. First is a cross of an OT hybrid, and usually cut flower lilies and OT hybrids are sterile. So you can see here on the seed, I try to make it more closer, zoom in more, yes. So you can see that these seeds doesn't contain any endosperm. It seems that none of these seeds contain any endosperm. So that is bad for me as a person who wants to grow seeds, lilies from seed. Sometimes cultivars, as I mentioned earlier, look like they have good seed, but if you don't check for embryos, you think that, oh, I'm going to have like 300 lilies from this seed pack, and there's virtually no embryos and no endosperm inside. So this is all chaff, so I'm going to throw it out in the garbage. There you go. And now we're going to look for a lily which usually sets seed, not all the time, but most of the time. And it's longiflorum seed. And you can see there there's a little dark, like a moon shape inside there, and that's the embryo. That's what we are looking for. There's also a smaller embryo here, there. So I open up the seed pod and let the seeds fall out. And it's called candling because in the older days people used to put a seed in front of a candle light, so they get transmitted light through the seed. but nowadays we are using LED lamps because it's efficient and effective. So there are a lot of seeds with embryos, and I just select a few of them on this side. So here you can see this dark part, and that's the straight part is the embryo. It can be moon-shaped, straight. Sometimes they are very small. In some cases, for example, in the case of Lilium candidum, the seed is very dark brown and you can hardly see the embryo. And a seed with an embryo feels also thicker and heavier. But I usually do it by hand, candling. So this is very tedious job. So it's you need to have patience and a good light to do that, but I always do this so I can see if my cross was successful, if the embryo was compatible with the endosperm, and if the embryo is not compatible with the endosperm, and if you have a laminar flow hood or you have access to a laboratory, you can excise the embryos. It's called embryo rescue, and you can raise the embryo on a substrate, an agar substrate, which contains a lot of elements which are necessary for plant growth, and you can rescue those seeds. Usually about 1/3 of the crosses are not compatible, so you can have a success rate with embryo rescue about 60 to 70%. Without embryo rescue, it depends on your crosses, but it's between 20 and 33%, 35%. So I hope this helped you, and if you find this interesting, you can like and subscribe, and thank you for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.